Hey man, those guys over there? They're talking about your girl. And from what I heard, it ain't just talk. That's how it started. Not with screaming. Not with her caught in the act. Not even with suspicion. Just a whisper in the middle of the bar. A whisper that hit harder than a punch. My name's Rico. 38. Born and raised in Brooklyn. I ride with the Iron Thorns, tight-knit, old-school crew. We don't do politics. We ride, we fix, we drink. And we protect what's ours. Veronica, she's been mine for 5 years. She was wild from the start, black leather skirts, dark eyeliner, lips always cherry red. She loved the rumble of the bikes and the smell of oil. She fit in with the club better than most of the hangarounds. Or at least, that's what I thought. That Friday, we had a meet-up at Murphy's, one of those old dive bars near Flatbush. Half the New York chapters were there. Everyone was loud, drinking, telling stories. Veronica was wearing one of those outfits that made every guy in the room turn their head, short leather skirt, tight top, heels. She liked the attention. And I let her have it. I trusted her. I shouldn't have. I was at the bar, talking shop with Dino, one of my oldest brothers. Out of nowhere, he leaned closer, voice low. You might want to check on your girl, Rico. What? Those guys near the back, from the South Bronx crew. One of them just bragged he hooked up with a chick in the bathroom. Leather skirt, fishnets, said she was wild. Sounds a lot like Veronica. I froze. My knuckles went white around the glass in my hand. I wanted to say he was wrong. That it couldn't be. But Dino doesn't run his mouth without reason. I turned slowly, scanning the room. And there she was. Walking out of the hallway where the restrooms were. Hair a little messy. Smudged lipstick. Smiling like nothing had happened. And behind her, him. Big guy, snake tattoo on his neck, laughing with his crew like he just won the lottery. That's when everything inside me twisted. I didn't move right away. I just stared. My head was buzzing, part rage, part disbelief. I wanted to believe it was a mistake. Maybe she was just in there fixing her makeup. Maybe. But then she walked right past me, looked me in the eye, and didn't say a damn thing. Not. Sorry. Not. I can explain. Nothing. She just sat down with a beer, like I hadn't just watched my world implode. That was the moment. The hook sank in. And I knew, something inside me had snapped. I didn't hear the music anymore. Didn't smell the beer or the sweat or the fried wings coming from the kitchen. All I heard was my pulse thundering in my ears. All I saw was that bastard's face, still smiling, still bragging to his boys like he just pulled off some legendary move. And all I felt was heat. I stood up without thinking. My legs carried me, but my fists were already 2 steps ahead. I walked past the bar, past the tables, past the looks of the guys who saw what was about to go down. No one stopped me. Hell, most of them stood up, already knowing this wasn't gonna end with words. I grabbed him, snake tattoo, that's what I started calling him in my head. Big guy, thick neck, maybe ex-con, but that didn't matter. When I spun him around and slammed him back first into the table, he wasn't a threat. He was a mistake I was about to correct. Glasses shattered. His beer spilled down his shirt. His crew jumped up, but none of them moved fast enough. You think it's funny? I spat, my face inches from his. Bragging about screwing a woman in the bar bathroom like it's a damn story to impress your boys. He blinked, confused, until realization hit him like a slow wave. Yo, man, hold on. That woman is mine. Was mine. For 5 years. He raised his hands, trying to keep it calm. I didn't know, bro. I swear. She didn't say anything. Just came up to me, started flirting. But that only made it worse. I punched him square in the jaw. Hard. The kind of punch you throw with your whole back behind it. He stumbled into the chairs, knocking over a stool. Then everything turned to chaos. He came at me, fists swinging, but rage is stronger than muscle. I ducked, hit him again in the ribs, then caught his shoulder and drove him into the wall. His crew surged forward, but before they could touch me, my guys were there, Dino, Lex, Vito, all swinging, all ready. The bar turned into a brawl. One of those movie-style free-for-alls where no one remembers who started it, but no one's backing down. Chairs flew, bottles shattered. Someone pulled the fire alarm. The bartender ducked behind the counter. People scrambled out through the front like rats off a sinking ship. And me? I was still locked on him. We crashed into the jukebox. His elbow caught my cheek, but I barely felt it. All I wanted was to erase his face. The nerve he had, laughing about her like she was nothing. And her? She was somewhere behind me, yelling my name, maybe crying, maybe just embarrassed. When they finally pulled us apart, 4 guys on me, dragging me back, he was slumped against the wall, blood on his shirt, lips split. I wasn't much better. Split knuckles, bruised ribs, a cut above my eyebrow dripping warm into my eye. Outside, in the cold air, I felt the sweat freezing on my skin. My hands were shaking, not from fear, not from pain. From betrayal. Then I heard her voice behind me. "Rico, please, it wasn't like that." I turned. There she was. Veronica. The same woman who used to ride on the back of my bike like she belonged there. Now standing 3 feet away, looking like a stranger. I was drunk. I didn't mean for it to happen. I don't even remember why. Save it. My voice was flat. Dead. You made a choice. She stepped closer. I didn't want to hurt you. It was a mistake. It just happened. No, I said, shaking my head. Dropping your keys is a mistake. What you did, that was intention. That was impulse. That was you, not caring for 1 second what this meant to me. Her eyes started to water, but it didn't matter anymore. I'd cried for her once, years ago, when I thought I'd lose her to something stupid. But not this. Not now. You're not mine anymore, Veronica, I said quietly. You belong to the streets now. Or to him. Or to whatever's left after the shame wears off. I turned my back to her and walked toward my bike. The parking lot was filled with noise, sirens in the distance, people shouting, engines rumbling. I climbed on, felt the weight of the leather, the steel, the cold handles. The moment the engine roared to life, it was like a heartbeat returning. Mine. I didn't look back. I just rode, away from the bar, away from the club, away from her. My thoughts blurred with the streetlights. Every corner, every mile, I told myself, don't stop. Not tonight. I rode until the city was nothing but a glow behind me. Just road and wind ahead. Funny thing about moments like that, the world doesn't stop for heartbreak. It just keeps spinning, faster than you can catch it. There's a kind of silence only the highway can give you. It's not quiet, not in the normal sense. The engine growls beneath you, wind howls past your helmet, tires chew the asphalt like teeth on bone. But still, it's silent. Because inside your chest, everything's still. That's what I needed. After the bar, after Veronica, after Snake Tattoo, after all the shouting, I didn't want revenge. I didn't want apologies. I just wanted out. So I rode. For 3 days, I stayed off the grid. No phone, no social media, no brothers asking if I was okay. I didn't even know where I was going, I just followed whichever road was furthest from where she was. Sometimes I slept in motels. Other times, I pulled off into fields, laid out under the stars, and let the night air numb whatever was left inside me. The worst part wasn't the image of her walking out of that bathroom. It was the version of her I'd built in my mind, the woman who'd ride with me to the ends of the earth, who'd patch my cuts after a fight, who'd laugh at my terrible cooking. That woman didn't exist. Maybe she never did. And I had to mourn her like she died. On the 3rd morning, I found myself outside an old diner in Jersey, the kind that smells like burnt coffee and broken dreams. I sat at the counter with a black cup of caffeine and stared out the window at my bike. A woman 2 stools down tried to start small talk. Blonde, mid-30s, soft eyes. She asked about the jacket. The patches, said her ex rode too. I nodded, smiled politely. But I wasn't there. Not really. Because something changes in you when your anchor cuts loose. You drift, even when the road is under your feet. Every mile doesn't feel like progress, it feels like running. I thought about calling Dino. Telling him I was alive, at least. But what would I say? That I got played? That I almost beat a man half to death for touching a woman who clearly offered herself? No. I wasn't ready for that talk. Not yet. Instead, I rode further. Upstate. Into the woods. Places where no one knew my name. I started sketching again, something I hadn't done since I was 25. Just lines and shadows in an old notebook I kept in my saddlebag. Not because I wanted to be an artist. Because it kept my hands from shaking. One night, sitting on a cliff edge near the Catskills, I let myself ask the question I'd been avoiding. Was it my fault? I'd been loyal. I'd given her everything. But had I been too blind? Too wrapped up in the club, in the road, in the life? Did I ignore the signs? Then I stopped. Because that's what betrayal does. It makes you feel guilty for someone else's choice. Nah. She knew what we were. She knew what I stood for. And she still threw it away for 5 minutes in a filthy bathroom with a stranger who didn't even remember her name the next day. And the guy? He didn't even know who she was. He just saw a woman who looked available. And in his world, that was enough. It wasn't his fault. It was hers. That thought planted something in me. Not anger. Not sadness. Clarity. And with it came an idea. 2 weeks later, I rode back into Brooklyn like a ghost returning to the living. The city hadn't changed. Same traffic, same steam rising from the manholes, same sirens in the background. But I had. I was different now. Calmer. Harder. Focused. I didn't go back to Veronica. I didn't even check to see if she texted or called. I went back to Murphy's, not for a drink, but for information. Dino was already there, sitting in our usual booth. He looked up when he saw me, and there was that split second of hesitation. Like he wasn't sure if I was still running or finally done. "You look like hell," he said. "Good," I replied. "Means it's working." He slid me a beer. I didn't drink it. Just stared at the foam. "You planning on talking to her?" "No." "Then what?" I leaned in. "I want to talk to the guy." Dino blinked. "Snake tattoo? You sure about that?" "Yeah." "You're not gonna finish what you started, are you?" "Nah," I said. "I'm gonna do something smarter." Turns out, the guy's name was Troy. He wasn't from the club. Just a hanger-on from the South Bronx crew, showed up for the parties, drank too much, flirted with anything in heels. Typical. I asked one of the younger guys to send a message through back channels, something simple. "No hard feelings. Just beer. Murphy's. Thursday. 9 p.m. He showed up. I could tell the second he walked in that he was expecting trouble. His body was tense, like he was waiting for a bottle to the head. But I was already at the bar, 2 beers on the counter, arms relaxed. "Troy, right?" He hesitated. "Yeah." "Look, man. Relax. I'm not here to fight." He slowly sat down. "You sure? 'Cause last time, I thought you were gonna put me in the hospital." "I thought about it," I admitted. "But the more I rode, the more I realized this wasn't about you." He nodded cautiously. "You serious?" "Dead serious." "You didn't know she was my girl?" "She didn't tell you?" "Hell, I don't think she even thought about me when she walked into that bathroom." He drank. "She was wild, man. I didn't even catch her name." That stung. More than I thought it would. "Yeah. That sounds like her." We drank in silence for a bit. Not friends, not enemies. Just 2 men caught in the wreckage of the same storm. Then I leaned in. "I need a favor." He raised an eyebrow. "From me?" "I want you to help me show her what she really chose." "Not with fists." With something better. He leaned back. All right. I'm listening. So I laid it out. Simple. Clean. Cruel, but not illegal. No threats. No traps. Just a message. I text Veronica the next day. Tell her I was ready to talk. That I missed her. That maybe, just maybe, we could fix it. I'd say I was at Murphy's waiting. Come alone. But I wouldn't be there. He would. Troy stared at me for a moment, then let out a short laugh. Damn man, that's cold. She was colder. He tapped his glass to mine. All right. Let's do it. That night, after we left the bar, I sat on my bike for a long time, staring at my phone. My thumb hovered over her name. The last text she sent me was from 3 days after the fight. Just one line. Please talk to me. I made a mistake. I could still see her face when she said it. Could still remember the fake tears, the hollow voice. I typed. I've been thinking. Maybe we should talk. I'm at Murphy's tonight. Come by if you want to fix this. Then I hit send. And wrote off. Didn't look back. Didn't care if she came. But I hoped she would. Because what was waiting for her wasn't what she expected. The bar was quiet that night. Rain tapped gently on the windows, the neon beer signs casting pale blues and reds across the wet pavement outside. Murphy's was never fancy, but tonight it felt almost reverent, like the walls themselves were holding their breath, waiting for something to snap. Troy sat in the booth I told him to take, far corner, under the flickering light. Same one I always used with Veronica back in the day. I told him to order her drink before she arrived. Whiskey sour, light ice. It'd be waiting for her. So would he. I was long gone by then. 100 miles north, parked outside a roadside motel. Watching my phone. Watching the clock. 8:57 p.m. She was always 5 minutes late. But not tonight. Because she really thought I meant it. Thought I'd softened. Thought, maybe, the storm had passed. That's the thing about people like her, they believe in second chances they don't deserve. Veronica walked into Murphy's at exactly 9:02. Troy told me later that she paused at the door like she was stepping into something sacred. She wore that tight leather jacket I bought her on our anniversary, the one that hugged her waist just right. Hair curled, boots polished. Lipstick fresh. She was trying. Performing. Thinking this was the beginning of our healing. Then she saw him. Not me. Not Rico. Troy. Sitting there with her drink in front of him. Arms on the table. Calm. Casual. Her smile faltered. He said she froze in the doorway for a full 5 seconds, like her brain needed time to reboot. Then, slowly, she walked over. You? She asked. He nodded. Me. Where's Rico? Not here. She sat down across from him, arms folding tight over her chest. Why are you here? He pushed her drink toward her. Same reason you are. She didn't touch it. He sent you? More like, he invited me. Her eyes narrowed. What is this? Troy told me she looked angry then, not hurt. Not yet. Just insulted. Like this whole thing was some tasteless prank. He didn't say much after that. Just leaned back, took a sip of his own drink, and gave her space to stew in it. She started asking questions. Fast. Panicked. The kind of voice that rises in pitch when you realize the floor under you might not be real anymore. Did he plan this? Did you know I'd be here? Why would he? And that's when he said the line I wrote for him. Word for word. He just wanted you to sit across from the guy you threw everything away for. Silence. She didn't have a comeback for that. Troy said she looked down at her drink. Then at her hands. Then back at him, like she was searching for a different ending. It didn't mean anything, she whispered. He shrugged. Doesn't matter now. I messed up. Yeah. And then he stood up. Left a $20 on the table. And walked out. Left her there. Alone. Sitting in that booth, her hands clenched around the glass she didn't touch, mascara already starting to blur. He didn't look back. And neither did I. Back in the motel, I watched the clock tick past 9:30. Then 10. Then 10:15. No texts. No calls. But I knew exactly what was happening. For the first time, she was sitting in the aftermath. She was the one who felt disposable. She was the one facing the silence I'd lived with since that night in the bar. And me? I felt lighter. Not happy. Not victorious. Just clean. Because it wasn't about payback. It was about clarity. The last message came at sunrise. I was in Vermont by then, high hills, dew on the grass, fog hugging the pavement like a secret. I'd parked the bike outside a little diner with no name. One of those places where the waitress knows everyone's name except yours. Perfect. The phone buzzed once. Just once. It was her. This is the last time I'll reach out. I know I broke it. I know I broke you. I'll regret it for the rest of my life. But I'll never stop loving you. If you ever want to talk, I'll be here. I'll always be here. No begging this time. No pressure. Just wait. I set the phone down, screen up, and watched the fog roll off the road in front of me. Somewhere a bird sang. The smell of coffee floated through the air. My helmet sat on the table like it was waiting to be filled with thoughts I didn't need anymore. She was right about one thing. She did break something. But it wasn't just me. She broke us. The idea of us. The trust that doesn't grow back no matter how many I'm sorry's you water it with. Love doesn't die in flames. It dies in bathrooms. In silence. In split seconds where someone forgets who they are and who they belong to. I never wrote back. Not because I hated her. But because I finally, didn't care anymore. That's the secret they don't tell you about letting go. It doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it's just a quiet moment in a small town with no name, where you read the last words from someone who once held your heart, and you feel nothing. No burn. No sting. Just breath. I paid for my breakfast in cash. Nodded to the old man at the register. He asked where I was headed. I shrugged. Wherever the road doesn't ask questions. He smiled like he understood. Outside, the sky was still waking up. I threw my leg over the saddle, clipped the helmet, and turned the key. The engine rumbled like a heartbeat. Alive. Steady. Forward. I didn't check my phone again. Didn't look back at the diner. Didn't wonder if she'd ever find someone who made her feel what I once did. That was her road. And this one was mine. I twisted the throttle. Felt the wind punch through my jacket. The bike surged forward. And just like that, I was gone.